Topic 1. The year isn't over yet. What's over are the excuses. There is a lie that many people accept without even realizing it. The belief that once several months have passed without major results, the rest of the year is already lost. It's as if the calendar quietly delivers a verdict saying the opportunity is gone. Little by little, people stop making plans, abandon their goals, and simply wait for next year, as though a new date could erase everything left behind. But that feeling rarely comes from reality. It comes from accumulated exhaustion, repeated disappointments, and the fatigue of trying without seeing immediate results. The year hasn't ended. Only your hope has grown weaker. Ironically, your own mind often deceives you. When you look at the months ahead, it convinces you there isn't enough time left to create meaningful change. Yet all you have to do is look at your own life to realize that profound transformations can happen in just a few weeks when consistency is present. A few months are enough to build new habits, lose weight, strengthen your body, organize your finances, learn a skill that once seemed impossible, read books that reshape your thinking, or develop the discipline that completely changes the way you face life's challenges. The very time that seems insufficient to someone who merely watches is the exact same time that builds a new reality for the person who chooses to act. Imagine two people looking at the same calendar. Both wake up on the same day. Both have nearly the same number of hours available. Both will inevitably reach the final day of this year. The difference is that one of them will keep saying, "It's too late now. It's not worth it anymore," while the other will choose to make the most of every remaining day, as if writing a brand new chapter of their own story. When December arrives, both will have lived the exact same number of days, but one will carry the weight of regret, while the other will carry the quiet pride of having done what so many kept postponing. Maybe the real problem was never the amount of time left. Maybe it has always been the constant decision to postpone change, believing there would always be a better time to begin. And that leads to an honest question worth asking yourself. If life changes the moment your decisions change, why do we wait so long to take the very first step? Topic 2. The biggest mistake isn't failing. It's waiting for the perfect moment. There is a trap so common that almost no one realizes they've fallen into it. It goes by many names. I'll start on Monday, next month, when I have more money, when things settle down, or I'll begin next year. It sounds harmless, but it's exactly what turns weeks into months and months into years. While we wait for the perfect circumstances, life keeps moving forward. Without even realizing it, we end up postponing not just a project, but entire versions of ourselves that never get the chance to exist. The truth is, almost no one begins a new chapter when everything is perfectly organized. Those who wait for motivation before taking action usually remain stuck. Organization doesn't come first, it develops along the way. First comes the decision, then come the adjustments, the lessons, the course corrections, and the confidence that once seemed impossible to find. Clarity rarely comes before movement. More often than not, clarity is born because someone chose to move forward without seeing the entire road ahead. Think about any meaningful transformation. Someone who starts eating healthier doesn't know everything about nutrition or every strategy for losing weight. Someone who begins studying doesn't master an entire subject on the first day. Someone who starts a business doesn't have all the answers or every solution. Someone learning a new language will make countless mistakes before speaking naturally. None of these people waited until they felt completely ready. They accepted that learning is part of the journey, and that competence is built far more through practice than through perfection. Maybe your life isn't standing still because you lack opportunities, talent, or ability. Maybe it's simply been held back for far too long by waiting for the perfect moment, a moment that never comes. And if that ideal moment doesn't exist, one unavoidable question remains, a question that could completely change the rest of this year. Where do you begin? Topic 3. You don't need to change your entire life today. You only need to change today. There is a reason so many people give up before they even begin. They believe they have to transform their entire lives overnight. They make enormous lists, set massive goals, and imagine waking up tomorrow as a completely different person. But changes of that magnitude usually create anxiety, not action. Your brain sees that challenge as something distant and almost impossible, and the result is predictable. Procrastination disguises itself as preparation. I'll get ready first. The truth is much simpler. You don't have to wake up tomorrow as someone else. You simply have to live today a little better than you lived yesterday. That's where small decisions become far more powerful than most people realize. Making your bed the moment you wake up may seem insignificant, but it's a quiet declaration of order. Taking a 20-minute walk may not sound impressive, but it reinforces your commitment to your health. Reading a few pages of a book, organizing a single drawer, drinking more water, putting your phone away 30 minutes earlier, or writing down your priorities for the day, all seem like tiny actions when viewed individually. Yet every one of them sends the same message to your mind. This is the kind of person I am. This is how I live. Little by little, you stop merely practicing different habits and begin building a different identity. Nature teaches this lesson every single day. No one watches a tree grow from one day to the next. You can walk past it for weeks, believing nothing has changed. But when you compare it to a picture taken months earlier, you notice new branches, stronger leaves, and deeper roots. Growth was happening the entire time. It was simply too subtle to notice from one day to the next. Human transformation works exactly the same way. It is built through repeated, almost invisible choices that accumulate until they become impossible to ignore. Maybe the secret was never about doing everything at once. Maybe it has always been about doing one thing today that moves you closer to the person you want to become tomorrow. Because lasting transformation is created through the repetition of small victories. But if the process is so simple, why do so many people start with excitement only to give up a few days later? There is a silent enemy that interrupts the journey before the first results ever have a chance to appear. Topic 4. The enemy isn't laziness, it's the identity you've accepted. Many people believe the greatest obstacle to changing their lives is laziness, a lack of discipline, or a lack of motivation. But in reality, the problem usually begins long before any action is taken. It starts with the words people repeat to themselves every single day. I'm disorganized. I never finish what I start. I always quit. That's just who I am. These statements may sound like harmless frustrations, but they carry tremendous weight. When repeated often enough, they stop being opinions about a temporary situation and become permanent definitions of who someone believes they are. What started as an excuse eventually becomes an identity. Human behavior naturally follows what we believe about ourselves. If someone is convinced they were born to fail, every obstacle becomes proof that this belief is true. If a project doesn't work out, they think, I knew it. If they miss one day of their diet, they immediately conclude, I can never stay consistent. If they struggle while learning something new, they assume they're simply not smart enough. Notice what the mind does. It selectively collects evidence that supports the story it has already chosen to believe. Little by little, people stop fighting against their circumstances and begin fighting to prove that their own limitations are real. That is why every lasting transformation begins long before visible results appear. It begins when your identity changes. Before acting like a disciplined person, you have to start thinking like one. Before achieving consistency, you must believe that you are someone capable of being consistent. This doesn't mean ignoring your mistakes or pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to turn temporary failures into permanent definitions. One bad day does not make you a failure. One setback does not erase all the progress you've already made. The question is no longer, what do I need to do? The real question becomes, who do I need to become? Because once your identity changes, your actions naturally begin to follow. Topic 5. The future is built by what you repeat, not by what you do once. There is something people rarely talk about. Almost everyone gets excited for a day. Almost everyone feels motivated after watching an inspiring video, reading a powerful book, or hearing a life-changing speech. But very few people remain committed when the excitement fades. That is where the future is truly built, not in extraordinary moments, but in ordinary days. The person who changes their life isn't the one who has one perfect day. It's the one who keeps moving forward even on imperfect days. Consistency has a power that motivation will never have. Motivation is emotional. Consistency is a decision. Motivation comes and goes. Consistency stays. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't negotiate with yourself every morning. You don't wait until you feel inspired. You simply do it because it has become part of your identity. That's exactly how every life-changing habit is formed. At first, it demands effort. Then it becomes familiar. Eventually, it becomes automatic. This is why small daily actions always outperform occasional bursts of enthusiasm. Reading 10 pages every day will accomplish far more than reading an entire book once every 3 months. Walking for 30 minutes every day creates better health than spending 4 exhausting hours at the gym once a month. Saving a small amount consistently builds more wealth than making one large deposit and never saving again. Life rewards repetition. The results you're looking for aren't hiding inside dramatic moments. They're hidden inside the ordinary choices you make every single day. So instead of asking yourself whether you're capable of changing your life, ask yourself a different question. What is one simple habit I can repeat tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that? Because your future is never created by what you do once. It is created by what you refuse to stop doing. Topic 6. You don't need more time. You need more intentionality. One of the most common phrases people say is, "I don't have time." But if we're honest, what most of us lack isn't time, it's intentionality. Everyone receives the same 24 hours each day. The difference lies in how those hours are invested. Some people spend them building a future. Others spend them escaping the present. Think about how often we say we're too busy to exercise, read, learn a new skill, organize our finances, or work toward a dream. Yet somehow we still find time to scroll through social media for an hour, watch videos we won't even remember tomorrow, or postpone important decisions because they feel uncomfortable. Time isn't just something we have. Time is something we direct. Every yes you give to one thing automatically becomes a no to something else. Every hour spent on distractions is an hour that can never be recovered. This isn't about becoming obsessed with productivity or filling every minute with work. It's about becoming aware, because once you become aware of where your time actually goes, you regain the power to choose differently. Small adjustments can create extraordinary results. Waking up 30 minutes earlier, replacing 30 minutes of scrolling with reading, using the drive to work to listen to an audiobook or an educational podcast, planning tomorrow before going to bed instead of waking up without direction. These changes may seem insignificant at first, but over weeks and months, they compound into a completely different life. People often overestimate what they can accomplish in a single day. At the same time, they dramatically underestimate what they can accomplish in 6 months through consistent action. The future isn't determined by one extraordinary decision. It's shaped by hundreds of ordinary decisions repeated day after day. So maybe the question isn't whether you have enough time. Maybe the real question is, are you giving your time to the life you truly want to build? Topic 7. The person you want to become is created by the decisions you make today. Many people imagine their future self as if it was someone they'll magically become one day. One day they'll be disciplined. One day they'll be confident. One day they'll be healthier, more successful, more organized, more fulfilled. But that future version of you isn't waiting somewhere ahead. It's being created right now. Every decision you make today is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. When you choose to keep a promise you made to yourself, you're becoming someone who can be trusted. When you choose discipline over comfort, you're becoming mentally stronger. When you choose learning over excuses, you're becoming wiser. When you choose action instead of delay, you're becoming more capable. Identity isn't built through grand speeches. It's built through repeated evidence. Every action says something about who you believe you are. That's why even your smallest choices matter. Skipping one workout won't ruin your life. Reading one chapter won't instantly transform your future. Saving $10 won't make you wealthy overnight. But every one of those decisions reinforces an identity, and identity is what ultimately determines your destiny. The beautiful part is that you don't need permission to become someone different. You don't need a new year. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need anyone's approval. You simply need to make one decision that aligns with the person you want to become. Then another, and another. Eventually, those decisions become habits. Those habits become character. And that character builds the life you once believed was out of reach. The person you'll be at the end of this year isn't determined by hope. It's determined by the decisions you make today. So ask yourself one final question before moving forward. If every decision is a vote for my future, what am I voting for today? Topic 8. The year won't change your life. Your decision will. Time moves forward for everyone. The calendar doesn't favor anyone. The clock never speeds up for one person or slows down for another. Every day that passes is given equally to all of us. What separates one life from another is not the passage of time. It's the decisions made while time keeps moving. By the end of this year, two very different stories will exist. One person will look back carrying the heavy weight of regret. They'll say they wanted to change. They'll remember all the plans they made, all the promises they made to themselves, all the Mondays they postponed, all the opportunities they convinced themselves would still be there later. And they'll realize that the year didn't betray them. They simply kept waiting. Another person will reach the exact same day with a completely different feeling, not because everything became perfect, not because every dream came true, but because they finally broke the cycle. They chose to begin. They kept going when it wasn't exciting anymore. They stayed consistent even when no one noticed, and because of that, they became someone they could truly be proud of. The difference between these two lives wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't money. It wasn't age. It was a decision repeated every single day. The beautiful truth is that you still have time, not because there are countless months left, but because every meaningful transformation begins with a single decision. History is filled with people whose lives changed because of one moment when they stopped waiting and finally took action. Your story can begin the exact same way. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not next month, today, right now. The next chapter of your life is waiting for a decision that only you can make. So before you leave this video, make a commitment to yourself. Don't wait for another special date. Don't wait until you feel perfectly ready. Start with whatever you have, exactly where you are. If this message spoke to your heart, write this in the comments. I still have time. Let that sentence become a promise to yourself. Save this video so you can come back whenever you feel like giving up. And share it with someone who needs a reminder that their story is not over yet. Because the year isn't over, and neither is your opportunity to become the person you've always wanted to be.